Y'all remember Sarah Huckabee Sanders? She's a good old southern gal. Little chunky. That's because everything we eat down here in the South is fried. You ain't lived until you've had a fried Snickers bar. Anyways, back in the day, she was President Doublewide's deputy press sow. But then she moved on to bigger and better things, became the governor of the great state of Arkansas. I was about to make some jokes about the great state of Arkansas, but hell's bells, I'm down here in Florida. We're so backwards down here, the sun rises in the west, not the east. Yeah, for fun, we get drunk and we run through convenience stores carrying live alligators. In fact, one old Florida boy tried to get on an airplane carrying a gator. He tried to say that it was his emotional support animal. They weren't buying it. They wouldn't let him on until he came back with his emotional support water moccasin in his pocket. Man, can you imagine being the TSA agent having to frisk him? Is that a water moccasin in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me? Anyways, getting back to the great state of Arkansas and Sarah Huckabee Sanders. One day not long ago come up a cloud up there in the great state of Arkansas. They had them a bunch of tornadoes and a whole bunch of frog stranglers. That's what we call down here in the South a heavy rain. Just messed up a bunch of trailer parks up there. So Sarah Huckabee Sanders thought she'd try to get some government assistance. She goes to FEMA and she says, "Can you help us?" And FEMA says, "What the hell do you think we are, some kind of disaster assistance agency? You want to make a deal on some trailers, you got to speak to President Doublewide." Well, that didn't sit too well with Sarah Huckabee Sanders. She said she was stunned and appalled that FEMA wouldn't help her great state of Arkansas. Now, stunned and appalled, that's polite Southern speak for what is this fucking bullshit? Reason I bring all this up is because 2 weeks from now, the hurricane season starts here in the state of Florida. And I ain't feeling too good about things. You see, our governor, Ron the Fascist, he ain't on good terms with President Doublewide. Not since he ran for president against President Doublewide in the last election. In fact, during that election, President Doublewide referred to our governor as Ron the Sanctimonious. Y'all do know that when I say President Doublewide, I ain't talking about house trailers. I'm talking about the size of his ass. Apart from all that, Governor the Fascist is a little busy trying to explain how $10 million worth of Agency for Healthcare Administration fines ended up in his two favorite super PACs. Well, there just ain't no explaining that. It's just how things are done down here. It's always been that way. At any rate, we get one of them big howlers coming up out of the Gulf of America. I ain't expecting too much in the way of federal aid. I'm just gonna lay in a supply of fried Snickers bars, a bunch of cheap beer, and the state will provide the gators.